Hey guys, it's Ezel back at another Card Fight Vanguard Ezel and Vanity weekly reviews. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn to the Patreon. Let's get one started. So first off, I want to let it be clear. It's still like as per usual. I'm recording this 2 days earlier, and then we're still going to continue the Tuesday stuff. But I want to let it be clear. Last week I said that the next week we would have the full set reveal. Lo and behold, I was right. I just want to say this. I apparently know how Bushiroad Mine works. Maybe I'm secretly a part of Bushiroad so well that I don't even know. Maybe I am. Who knows at this point? I'm not. To my knowledge, I'm not. God knows if I actually am. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this, I guess, the reveal started as, it's not actually that much. Normally there's like 20 reveals to go through. This time there's like just 10? Yeah, this time there's 16, so they actually lessened it by a lot. Like, they did a lot of reveals during, I guess, Shaman King era. So let's go ahead and get this started. First up, we have Sharp Armor Dragon Gatesfort. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Auto back or rear guard once per turn. When your opponent's rear guard is retired during your turn, stand this unit, it gets +2 during your turn. So I want to say that's interesting. One, it says retired during your turn. It doesn't say by effects, it just says when retired. And he stands himself and gets +2. So automatically this thing's really good for Eugene because you can just rest this with Eugene, restand, and then same with the Brachio. But then because it just says retired during your turn and it doesn't specify by main phase or effect, you could shove this in Verena or shove it in Basvagra. I mean, or maybe not Basvagra because Basvagra can't really take advantage of this, but like shove it in Verena or shove it in Overlord, swing with this thing boosting into a rear guard, restand this thing, give it +2, and then, you know, your other Verena stand as well. And with Esper coming out, and Valiente and all that stuff, and certain Urger combos, yeah, this rare, it's been a while since I've seen a really good rare that I've actually considered running out of 4 of. Yeah, this is something I consider running out of 4 or 3 of, depending if you have the space for, because it's really good. It gets you a restand. It doesn't specify during main phase retired. It doesn't specify by effects. It just says when retired during your turn, stands +2, amazing card, 3 over 4 of. Next up, we have Lightning Howl Dragon, and you know what they say, with every one good card comes a very bad card. Grade 3, 200 Persona Ride, 13k base, looks kind of like a knockoff Overlord. Auto rear, when your Vanguard attacks hits, you may return this card to your hand. So discard fodder? I guess? No, just no. Like I said earlier, with every good card comes a bad card. Boo. This thing can go to hell. I mean, they made this thing, so I guess it's fine. Next up, we have Steam Performer Lugalza, 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept, continuous guard circle. If there are 2 or more grade 3 cards in your soul, gets +5k shield. So it's a 10k shield if you have 2 grade 3s in soul. Not necessarily that hard for each deck to hit. Somehow I struggle to do it with Bruce. I mean, it specifies 2 grade 3s, so if you're gonna run a Bruce deck that only has the one of the grade 3 Bruce, you can't use this. But I honestly think this is not needed because all the Dark States decks, they have that one card that goes to soul after it's retired from guard circle and it gets +5k shield, which is from like set 3. I think it was a double rare. I forgot what his name was, but it was also Steam Hunter. Yeah, that one's better than this. I mean, this is a budget version of that, so maybe, but yeah, the other one's a lot better. Next up, we have Cardinal Prima Lactat, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost, auto rear. At the end of the battle that it boosted a Shadow Army token. Call a Shadow Army token to the rear guard this unit was on his rest. So you just get a token out of it. I mean, that's cool. Like, you're getting a 23k, maybe 33k calm out of it if you Persona Road, and then you're just getting a 15k booster for free, which is really nice. But the downside is, one, it's not a May. You have to do it if you boost with this, so you're losing this card. So if for some reason you want to keep this over the Shadow Army token, too bad, you're getting rid of it. But then there's also the fact of you're forcing the token to be called as rest, which I guess makes sense to lessen attacking bowl. But then also, and it gives you like resources to use with like the retiring boys, like the dragon that retires 3 to restand himself. I don't know, this is an okay card. I can see why you would run it because it's a free token, but I can also see why you wouldn't because like the token comes as rest, and the only point of it at that point is just sack fodder for the turn. So, because if you're trying to get a free token, sure, but Orpheus can make tokens out of nowhere, and honestly, Orpheus is very consistent with making tokens, so I give this a 2 if you choose to run it. I'm not going to run it though because I just don't like it. Next up, we have Electromagnetic Monster Elehilecity, grade 3, 200 Persona Ride, 15k base, continues Vanity rear. If your order zone has no order cards, this unit gets attacked. I mean, this unit cannot attack. Has a Vanguard ability. That means this is a new ride line, right? Yeah, no. I mean, you can combine this with any of the ride lines because literally all of the ride lines have the ability to search in order. The prison and orifice one literally can search in order just by being placed, and then the Gravidia one's the only one that's a 50-50 bet because it looks at top 7 for orders, and there have been times where I haven't hit it, but like that was one time, and every other time I've hit at least one meteor. So if you want to put this as a challenge, here's a challenge for all of you. Anyone who's watching at this point, I want someone make a build with this as the main grade 3. You can use whatever the fuck ride line you want. You can make whatever the fuck the deck is. Any amount of cards. I mean, well, okay, let me first say, sorry. A deck within reason that follows the ban list, as long as this is the main grade 3, go ahead. That is my direct challenge to anyone who's watching this, because I want to see someone make this a main grade 3, because there's a reason why you would do it, just a very dumb reason at that. 4 of, I guess, if you make this a main grade 3, you run this in the deck at 4 because Persona rides. But if you don't make this a main grade 3, you don't run this at all because there's no reason to put in the deck besides the 15k base. Next up, there's Aurora Battle Princess Riot Beeble to 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost, continues guard circle. If your Vanguard's a grade 4, it gets plus 15. So, in terms of shield. So this is a 20k shield. If it gained intercept, I would be more inclined to use it because that means I can be more stupidly aggressive with Seraph Snow Pure Light, who still very much scares me, who can make power numbers and then make this thing a really defensive card. Downside to this thing is you are required to be at grade 4 for it. So the 15k shield, as interesting as it is, doesn't do much if you don't get to grade 3. And I know it always comes down to, like, deck builds and luck, but, like, every other person I've seen use Pure Light, they rarely draw into Pure Light. And I draw into it every game. And it's not saying much, because I've played, like, 10 games with it, but I've drawn into it every game. So, like, I don't know, I'm okay with this card. I'm not going to run it because I don't have space for it, and I don't really want it. Like, if I'm not running Suppressed Gleamer, who is for free, I'm not running this. 3 of if you choose to run it, I guess. Next up, we have Knight of Lonely Shadow Finola, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. They're giving Overlord all the love. Like, they gave Overlord, not Overlord, they gave PBD all the love. I mean, they gave Overlord a really good grade 1, so I'm not going to talk shit about that one. But they gave they gave PBD, like, that restander if there are no rear guards, other rear guards. But then this one, who's, like, a slightly better version of that grade 3, which is 8k base, I already went over the stats. Continues rear. If there are no units in say Comaz, it gets plus 10, including your opponent's rear cards. So first off, it says units. So don't just think you can smartass your way through it and put it behind the Vanguard, because that's not how that works. Because there's still a unit there, and there's a unit on your opponent's side on the board. So yeah, you can't put it behind the Vanguard. But you can put it on the other rear guard columns, use PBD to nuke the column that it's in, and then just, this boy becomes an 18k during both player turns, which is really nice. And if with Persona Ride, 28k, or on really good grade 1, and if you combine this with a grade 3, actually you can't do that, because the grade 3 would not be able to go off because you have rear guards. So either way, this thing's really good. I like it. I think this is what the grade 3 should have been, where it gets the plus 10, and then if there are no... it gets to the plus 5 and reset, and then if there are no other rear guards in general, it gets the plus 10, but it's fine. It's a good grade 1. I think it belongs in at 3 over 4. But either way, PBD is getting really good. I'm really glad I invested in I'm really glad I bought PBD right before these released, because I think PBD is about to go up in price a bit. Next up, we have Thundering Heavenly Getuze, grade 3, 200 Persona Ride, 13k base, auto rear. When this unit stands by your Vanguard's ability, choose one of your other rear guards, it gets plus 5 for the turn. 5, back when I was building Bastion Prime, I struggled to put cards in there because I didn't know what I wanted. And then I started on a really good build. Then this thing came out, and it makes me want to redo it. But it's not just this card, because first off, this is really good. I love its art, I love its skill, because it's just a free 5, and it can work regardless of which Bastion you're on, but... there's no downside to this. It's literally for free, and it works regardless of what Bastion you're on. If you have a full field of these things and you're on Bastion Prime, then your numbers are increasing for big numbers that shouldn't be specified. So, yeah, it's good. This thing is a 3 of if you run it. I'm not going to run it, or maybe I will, because I already have my Bastion deck built. But I question if it's finished or not after seeing this. But not just this one, there's also this one. Heavenly Protection Dragon, Embrace Dragon. Grade 3, 200 Persona Ride, 12k base. First off, I love that art. Second off, auto, when it's placed on guard circle, choose one of your grade 2 or grade units that's being attacked, gets plus 10 for the battle. And if you're a grade 4, you get plus 20 instead. So, Kokobio, remember that card, was specifically for the old Bastion, and was 5k for every 2 grade 3s. So, at most, probably 30 without a second Kokobio down on guard circle. Wait, no, it wasn't. It was 5, 10, 15, sorry, a 15k shield at most on its on one Kokobeel. This is officially 1k less, but it works on grade 2s now, or just everyone, so you can run this in decks that aren't just Bastion, but then also it can turn into a 20 if you're on Prime. This card, literally the only reason why Kokobeel is in my deck is because literally when I was making the deck, I said I'm going to embrace my principles of running Kokobeel as discard fodder, because Set 3 Bastion was my worst Bastion deck in terms of consistency, because it was the one deck I didn't run Kokobeel in, and I highly doubt that the one deck I didn't run Kokobeel in, who was my main discard fodder, suddenly has a consistency problem. Especially when that was the only card I cut. So I wouldn't be surprised if, and when I added Kokobeel back, my deck suddenly got its consistency back. So I'm not that surprised that that happened. But now I'm worried if I cut Kokobeel again for something that's actually better than it, will I have problems? Even though Kokobeel is my main discard fodder, I am tempted to tech this in, but I don't want to risk it again. So I might run it at 3 of, or I might just not run it at all because I don't want to take that chance. If you want to run it at 3 of. So Bastion got good cards, but that's not all. We also have another card for Bastion, Knight of Heavenly Magnificence Contenio, grade 2 intercept 5k shield 10k base. Auto when is placed on guard circle, and put on guard circle. If you have a Vanguard Bastion's card name, it gets plus 5k shield for end of battle. Yeah, don't run this. Kokobeel's better. Like, that is saying something. Because Kokobeel allows you to get your skills off. That's why Kokobeel is better. Don't run this. Next up, we have Knight of Unnatural Death Delbaeth, just by the, yep, it also is a Blaster support card. Grade 2, boost 5k shield 10k base. Not boost, intercept. Continues rear. During your turn, if you have 2 or more rear guards retired for the cost of your card of the Blaster's card, it gets plus 10. So better Blaster Dark. So we can finally replace Blaster Dark out of the main deck, because they do almost the exact same thing. So Blaster Dark is just when one unit is retired, 1 or more, it gets the plus 5. This is now 2 or more, but it gets plus 10. So yeah, I think this is better. 3 of or 4 of. Next up, we have Banner of Heavenly Salvation Saline. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear. When this unit is stand by your Vanguard's ability, you may soul charge 1. I really like how they're going out of their way to make it so like each build for the grade 4s. Like obviously they give a bunch of cards that are meant to support the grade 4s, but they're also giving a bunch of generic cards to a lot of the decks. Not all of them are having generic cards. And then they're also giving like cards specifically for the previous versions of the grade 4s. So like, you can build different versions of these, like one that focuses on the grade 4, one that's focused on both, and then one that's focused specifically on the grade 3. And like, you can obviously tell that with this one, because this is not meant to be Bastion Prime, because if you don't remember, Bastion Prime can only restand grade 3s. The original Bastion, however, can restand anyone. So obviously you're meant to use with the original Bastion and get a soul charge out of it. Why you would do that is beyond me. I guess I can see them both, like where you try to soul charge a Bastion, but I don't think you need to. Like, you can soul charge Bastion anyways. So Saline is an okay card. I'm gonna give her 2 of if you choose to run her, but like that would probably be like in a grade 3 Bastion focused deck over the grade 3 with Bastion Prime in it, or like Bastion Prime focused. I think it's just grade 3 Bastion in itself. So 2 if you choose to run it. I'm not gonna run it though. Next up, we have a card that I thought was going to be implied in Bastion skill, which is Knight of Heavenly Omen Grandiel. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 7k base. Continues rear guard or trigger zone if your Vanguard is an Apex or Passing Sword Bastion Prime. This unit gets plus 2 grade and plus 5k power active on both players' turns. So, first off, now he can restand due to Prime. So yes, you have to be on Prime for this to go off, but if you are, this thing is an immediate grade 3 with a 12k base. So 1k less than your normal grade 3s, okay. Can restand with Prime now. You have a guaranteed booster just in case if you don't have the Order or Darkstream that gives your units boost. And it's an extra 5k shield in deck. Once more, I'll say it again. I really want to cut Kokobeel, but I don't want to take that chance and my consistency suddenly drops, because I know why it dropped besides just cutting. I know why Kokobeel's affected the deck that much of why I dropped it, but I don't want to take that chance again, because I know my deck very well and I don't want to take that chance. I might need to, but I'm questioning it now. But this is a really good card. Like, there are 3 good cards in here, but I can't afford to shove any of them in without fucking myself over. So 3 for this one as well, because it's really good. Next up, we have Purity Maiden Belanca, 13k base, grades 8 to Persona Ride, continuous guard circle. If your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 10k shield. Meh, like, it's a 10k shield. Like, I don't really know what to say about it. It's okay. If Zorga has the ability to start reviving stuff from drop as guards, then sure, but I don't really see the point in this. 2 of or 3 of. And then our last card for the overall set 4 is a Flagberg card, Advance of Great Cause, because Magnolia already got all of its support cards. Grade 3, Blitz Order, choose a Flagship Dragon, Flagberg Dragon on your Vanguard, gets plus 20 for the battle. Okay, it's okay. Like it's a free 20. It is a free 20. Like you don't just disagree with the free 20. Like Bruce has a free 20. Bastion to an extent has a free 20, but you require 4 grade 3s to do so, and it required it to give it to the Vanguard, not a rear guard. I mean, this has to give it to a Flagberg who's only ever going to be on Van, because if you call it to rear, that's assuming that you are in a risky situation, that you're going for the win at that moment, because, or that you were going for the win, because there's no reason to call Flagberg to rear when it has no rear guard skill whatsoever. But yeah, this is a good order. I'm gonna give it a 2 over 3. Nope, just two. Like, I cut my order when I ran the new Flagberg cards, and it was like the one that gives Flagberg more power when it swings. I might not just give it to this, because I don't think Flagberg needs defense. Like, my Flagberg deck never really struggles with defense, unless it's against something like Radon, where it hits big-ass numbers, then okay, yes, it needs defense, but it's only ever Greedon. Like, Orphis I seem to do fine against. Nirvana before Mahar was a thing. So yeah, this deck is, I don't think it needs it, but I do appreciate it, and it does have a cool art. Why do they keep giving everything golden arts? Are they just watching JoJo now? Is that what they did? They just trimmed for JoJo. Anyways, yeah, they got some interesting cards, and that was it for set 4. At the moment, I have no idea what else they're going to release, but if my assumption was correct from a few weeks ago, and I'll know this later, and you'll continue watching the video after the statement, I'm pretty sure they're about to release the collection set cards. If I am right, hell yeah, give me a slap on the back, because we have no confirmation on that shit yet. But like, if at this point, after this point, if and later in the video, if we see collection set stuff, I was right. I want to let that be clear, because I predicted this. But yeah, so let's go ahead and for me, this is a pause for the day, but for you guys, just keep watching the video, and we'll see where the next reveals are. I want to let it be clear that I had literally said before like I went to go re-record this again, that they were going to reveal the collection set cards, and literally an hour after I recorded the first half of this video, lo and behold, Star-vaders are here. I just want to say this. I didn't know it was coming. I just predicted it was coming, because I know Bushy. I know their time release shit, because if I know Bushy right, they like to release their shit at the last minute, and that is exactly what Bushy did. Anyways, on to their cards, which I find okay-ish. First, we have Mono Shot Star-vader Neon, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base for Star-vaders. Obviously, auto drop zone at the start of your battle phase. Counterblast 1, call it to a rear guard in the same column as one of your opponent's locked cards. Auto rear at the end of your opponent's turn. If an opponent's locked card was not unlocked this turn, bind this unit. It is a mandatory bind. So, if their card is not unlocked, this thing gets bound, which sucks for you. So like, basically it's an anti Omega Lock play, where if you don't know what Omega Locks are, they just prevent the unit from being unlocked during that turn that they're normally supposed to be unlocked at. So a way to make a board in a way just to Omega Lock someone. I mean, to like, but it also has a counterback that it gets screwed over by Omega Locks is what I mean by that. Except my thing with this is it's not really worth it, because Star-vaders and V don't need this. Like, they don't need the field spam. They already have Colony Maker, who kind of just does it better. And the Counterblast, considering all their skills kind of require it, is met. Like, you all know me that I'm Counterblast sensitive because of things that happened at some point, but it's annoying. I feel like it doesn't need it. In Premium, we just lost Zinc, our really good countercharger, so I'm not really sure what to do with this one. Honestly, I don't think this is a good card. If you wanna run it, sure, but remember that bind effect is mandatory. It is not a you may. If nothing gets unlocked, it's a mandatory bind. So 2 if you choose to run it. I'm not gonna run it though. Next up, we have Unrivaled Star-vader Radon. Oh, I love this thing's art so much, but I kind of think it's trash. Grade 2, intercept, 5k shield, 10k base. Auto drop, if your soul has 1 or less cards, its cost is reduced by Soul Blast of 1. At the start of your battle phase, Soul Blast 1 and call this card to rear in the same column as your rear guard with the Star-vader in it. Its card name, and then auto rear when this unit attacks until end of battle. When your opponent would call cards from their hand to guard circle, they must call 2 or more at the same time. At the end of the battle, bind this unit. It is a mandatory. So first off, this one calls himself to a column of locked cards. This one calls himself to a column with a Star-vader in it. So you can basically make a column with a counterblast and not even a soul blast. Because like, this is actually useful with Colony Maker, because Colony Maker soul blast, so you don't have to screw over by this. But then the other ability, the mandatory when it swings. And the worst part is, it says when this unit attacks. Doesn't say Vanguard. It says when it attacks. And because it is mandatory, if they just choose not to guard it, you lose this unit. So they could just willingly take it, and you lose a unit. Or if they guard it, they lose a unit. Regardless of how it goes, if this swings into anything, it dies at the end of the battle, and it goes into bind zone where you can't get it anymore, which sucks. And I love this thing's art too, but like forcing up the 2 or more cards to guard is just like, I don't think Star-vader needs it. Like with my testing with Star-vader never really had that problem, and I feel like these two, like one of them could have just been like another locker, like, or maybe just a countercharger. A countercharger or a soul charger would have been helpful. Maybe they can keep their first skills, but like maybe add a countercharger or a soul charge skill to the second one, so like, you know, you're not paying constant resources for Star-vaders, and so we can at least get part of Zinc back. I'm not saying remake the entirety of Zinc, but like maybe just when an opponent's card is locked once per turn, soul charge 1 or countercharge 1. Like it would be specifically that, where you get one of the other, not both at the same time, which is I'm pretty sure why Zinc is banned. It's really just, I wanted it to be something else, like either lockers or like give us resources back, because these just kind of feel like subpar. I like Radon a lot. This one is meh to me. Like, I'm not going to run this. I will run this solely because it looks cool, but 2 of most, not more. Next up, we have Star-vader, Nebula Lord Dragon, our grade 3 with 200 from Persona at 13k base. Boss art right there. Act Vanguard once per turn. Soul Boss 1, retire one of your opponent's rear guards with Star-vader in its card name. Sorry, one of your rear guards, not one of your opponent's rear guards, because that would require a mirror match happening. Your opponent chooses one of their rear guards and locks it. Then if your opponent does not have any rear guards in the back row, this unit gets +1 drive for the turn. If they didn't lock, your opponent looks at the top card of their deck and puts it on their open rear guard circle as a locked card. So it does what, I think it was, which one was it? Was it Deluge? It was either Deluge or Universe. No, it was neither of those. It was but it's like something along those lines where like they place a card on an open rear guard circle as a locked card. I believe there was also a card in early Link Joker, early Link Joker, back with Grandiel. So there was that one card, I believe, that was an on place. Your opponent calls the top card of their deck as a locked card. So interesting that it brings that aspect back. It's another Soul Blast, which really wants to compete with that Chaos Breaker, doesn't it? And it gets that extra drive, so you got triple drive on it. And it requires you, but for that to happen, your opponent cannot have any back or rear guards that are, in general. Which I'm pretty sure that means they can be locked and they don't count as rear guards. I'm not so sure about that. It's an interesting thing. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say I like it. I'm not gonna say I hate it, because I'm kind of in the middle between it. And then it continues Vanguard during your turn. If your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, all of your units with Star-vader in their card names get +5k power for each locked card your opponent has. So automatically with this thing's skill 18, these two literally do nothing to benefit that, so you have to rely on the other Star-vader support, and like 2 of them are counter blasters, 1 of them is a soul blast, 1 of them is a Rodopon. Yeah, not really the best ability, honestly. Like, I'm not saying Nebula's bad, because it's good, especially because like its second ability is basically what Infinite Zero does, but to everyone except just Infinite Zero himself. But I cannot see reason to fully like this, because one of its skills is just bad, in my opinion. The other skill is relatively good. I'm going to give it a solid 3 of, because my lineup is going to be 3 of this, 3 of Infinite, or 3 of Chaos, or all 3 of them at 3, just cuz. But yeah, I just can't find a reason to like this card like to its fullest extent. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that first skill in particular that bothers me. Either way, it's still a good card. Something about it just bothers me. Next up, we have Genesis. Somehow I predicted this was going to come after Star-vaders. Anyways, Apple Witch Cider, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Auto rear at the end of the battle that it boosted, you may either soul charge 1 and return it to hand, or soul charge 2. So either bounce a 10k shield and get a soul charge, or don't bounce it, but you get 2 soul. Okay, either way, just that ability alone, it gives me enough reason to shove this into my Witch deck. But then auto, when it's put on guard circle, put a 1-hand card into your soul, and then this card gets +5k shield for every 3 cards in soul. Yeah, if you have enough of these, that's a lot of soul really quickly, and like that's a lot of guarding power. All around, that's a really good grade 1. Like, it doesn't need a Vanguard skill. It is a rear guard and guardian card. It is amazing, and I like it. I get a 3 of, or 4 of, honestly. Next up, we have Sunlight Goddess, Yatagarasu. I'm somewhat digging that art, and I'm somewhat not digging that art, but I dig this effect, because I really like the ones that like have the Soul Blast base skills. Grade 3 to Force Gift. I don't know why I was about to say Persona Red. 13k base, auto van when this unit attacks, counter blast 1, soul blast 3, and activate all of the following abilities based on the number of total combined grades of the soul blasted cards. So basically that means if you soul blast a grade 3, a grade 2, and a grade 1, you activate up to grade 6, etc., etc. I'm not going to bother explaining it. You all understand what that means. 5 or greater, all of your units get plus 10k until end of turn. So, Persona Ride. So maybe that's what I was about to say, Persona Ride, just because it gives a plus 10k to the whole front row, which is automatically really good when it swings. And then 5 or greater, all of your... Oh, sorry, I already read that. 7 or greater, you choose 2 of your rear guards and stand them. So you get 2 more attacks. So you got 5 attacks in total. And 9 or greater, you draw 2. Just that ability alone, it's like what Fortuna should have been, or what I was expecting, but put onto this card. Honestly, I feel like that's better, because Yatagarasu, I started maining in 0 because she was being really helpful to me. Yeah, this thing is really good. And if they stopped right there, I'd say that's a solid card, but then they made it even better by giving it a Guardian skill. Auto Vanguard, when your unit is put on guard circle, Soul Blast 3, and that unit gets plus 10k shield until end of battle. So your grade 3s turn into 10k shields. So automatically that's really good. But then your grade 1s turn into 20k shields. This thing turns into God knows what. Just, I mean, yeah, you lose 3 souls, so you do lose 5, but then you're getting 10 out of it, so technically you're gaining 5. All around, that skill is pretty good. It gets you shield, gets you power, gets you restands. I actually cannot wait to test this thing out. Like, this can be a dedicated deck of its own. Obviously, you're not supposed to put this in the Himiko, and I'm really glad of that. They gave it a really good card. They gave us a really generic grade 1, and I love this thing. 4 of. And now we have our main grade 3 for the new Himiko line. Really nice that they're giving Himiko support again because she got scrapped really early. Demise, Queen, Himiko, Reverse. Grade 3, Twin Drive, Persona Ride, 13k base. Auto a hand at the end of your turn if your Vanguard with Himiko in its card name... Sorry, if you have a Vanguard with Himiko in its card name, and if you've activated a trigger ability 2 or more times that turn, pull all of your rear guards into your soul, at least 1, to ride this unit as rest. So pretty much, you get a force gift at the end of the turn, basically what Hanzo does, but to do this, you have to activate your trigger effects twice. So, basically that means if you don't know what Himiko does, you send your triggers to bottom, and then you get to activate that trigger effect each time for each grade of your opponent's Vanguard, I believe it was. So if you have a draw trigger and their opponent's Vanguards are grade 2, you draw 2 cards. If you have a crit and they're at grade 3, you activate the critical trigger 3 times. It's basically what Gravidia... It's the pre-incarnation of Gravidia, but maybe slightly broken, because Gravidia only does it twice. So this ability is really easy to pull off. The only downside is that Himiko costs 5 Soul Blast for it, but, since you're, recouping all of your rear guards of Soul anyways, if you went for the Rush tactic, you're probably fine. So Himiko Rush is already a thing with that one skill, but then Auto Van, once per turn, when this unit attacks or is attacked, counterblast 1 to draw 1, choose a critical or draw from your soul, place it on a rear guard as a locked card, and if you're placed, you can activate that trigger ability once for each of your locked cards. So guaranteedly you get off 1 trigger. It's a once per turn, though. So what I'm getting from this is just because this is the first reverse unit. I'm assuming all of them are going to have abilities that obviously lock, but then they're going to have abilities that it goes off for each locked card, meaning that if you're playing against a Link Joker matchup, the Link Joker player's at the disadvantage, because, yeah, they get more locks, but they do, they're giving you resources to fuck with, so unless they lock the board, you're kind of screwed. So Himiko gives you that ability. And this one just allows you to get a free draw trigger regardless, because you're getting a draw out of it, but then you get another trigger. So you either get a draw and just get plus 10 to Vanguard and draw, or you get that critical trigger and, gets aggressive. Either way, it's like triple drive or an extra damage trigger on both players' turns. It may be named once per turn, but if you're playing a mirror match or if you're playing against Link Joker who locks at least one other card, but you still get a circle opened, then yeah, you might lock more of your board, but you're getting more defensives out of it. So I'm gonna say this: Himiko's scary. If this is a premonition of what the other cards are gonna do, where they get really good grade 3s and then really good separate grade 3s and then really good evolutions, I'm kind of terrified of Himiko. So I'm gonna say she's really good. She gives Himiko what it needs and makes it far more terrifying than it should have been. So yeah, revives Himiko with a good style. 4 of.